This video provides brief information about the light machine guns used by the armies of the major nations in combat during World War I. The Lewis gun, officially known as the Lewis automatic machine gun, is one of the most important and recognizable light machine guns of the early 20th century. It was designed in 1911-1912 by the American engineer Isaac Newton Lewis. Although its inventor was American, the United States Army initially rejected the weapon, which led to its development and large-scale production in Great Britain. The British Army officially adopted the Lewis gun in 1914, and it soon became one of the standard light machine guns of the First World War, later being used by many other countries around the world. The Lewis gun operates on a gas-operated rotating bolt system. When a round is fired, a portion of the propellant gases is diverted through a gas port beneath the barrel, driving a piston that pushes the bolt rearward. This action extracts and ejects the spent cartridge case and chambers a new round. The rotating bolt locks securely during firing, providing reliability and safety. One of the most distinctive features of the Lewis gun is its air cooling system. The barrel is surrounded by an aluminum radiator and enclosed within a cylindrical shroud. During firing, hot air is drawn forward and expelled from the muzzle, which significantly improves cooling and allows sustained automatic fire without the need for a heavy water cooling system. A unique characteristic of the Lewis gun is its pan-shaped drum magazine mounted on top of the receiver. Infantry versions typically used a 47-round magazine, while aircraft and anti-aircraft variants often used a larger 97-round magazine. The cartridges are arranged radially inside the magazine, which was an unusual but effective solution at the time. The weapon fires from an open bolt, a design choice that helps prevent overheating and reduces the risk of cook-offs during prolonged firing. During the First World War, the Lewis gun proved extremely effective in trench warfare. Its relatively light weight compared to heavy machine guns allowed infantry units to carry it forward during assaults, providing mobile automatic fire support. The gun was also widely used in aviation, mounted on early military aircraft, especially those with high wings where synchronization with the propeller was not required. Even after the First World War, the Lewis gun remained in service in many countries and was used again during the early stages of the Second World War, particularly in anti-aircraft and home defense roles. In terms of technical characteristics, the most common version of the Lewis gun was chambered for the .303 British 7.7 by 56 mm R cartridge, although versions in other calibers were also produced. The overall length of the weapon was approximately 1,280 millimeters, with a barrel length of about 660 millimeters. The weight without a magazine was roughly 12 to 13 kilograms. The cyclic rate of fire was around 500 to 600 rounds per minute, while the practical rate of fire in combat conditions was about 120 rounds per minute. The effective firing range was generally considered to be 600 to 800 meters. In conclusion, the Lewis gun was a highly innovative and successful weapon for its time. Its combination of portability, reliability, and advanced air cooling system made it one of the most effective light machine guns of the early 20th century. It played a crucial role in modernizing infantry firepower and left a lasting impact on the development of future automatic weapons, securing its place as a classic and historically significant firearm. The MG-0815 was a German light machine gun developed and introduced during the First World War, specifically in 1915. It was derived from the earlier MG-08, which itself was based on Hiram Maxim's recoil-operated machine gun system. The MG-0815 was designed in response to the changing nature of trench warfare, where mobility and flexibility became increasingly important. While the original MG-08 was extremely reliable and effective, it was also very heavy and cumbersome, making it difficult to move quickly on the battlefield. The MG-0815 represented Germany's first serious attempt to create a more portable machine gun for infantry units. Mechanically, the MG0815 retained the classic Maxim short recoil toggle lock operating system, which was known for its durability and reliability under harsh combat conditions. It was chambered for the standard German 7.92 by 57 mm Mauser cartridge, allowing it to share ammunition with German service rifles. The weapon was belt-fed, typically using fabric ammunition belts holding either 100 or 250 rounds, which enabled sustained automatic fire. The MG0815 fired in fully automatic mode only, with a cyclic rate of approximately 400 to 500 rounds per minute, which was relatively moderate and helped maintain control and reduce overheating. One of the defining features of the MG0815 was its water-cooled barrel system. Unlike later light machine guns that relied on air cooling, the MG0815 used a cylindrical water jacket surrounding the barrel, holding roughly 2.8 liters of water. This allowed the weapon to fire continuously for extended periods without the barrel overheating, making it highly effective for defensive positions and suppressive fire. However, this cooling system also added significant weight and complexity, limiting the weapon's true mobility, despite its classification as a light machine gun. In terms of physical characteristics, the MG0815 had an overall length of approximately 1,400 to 1,445 millimeters. Its weight varied depending on configuration, but when loaded with water, fitted with a bipod, and ready for combat, it weighed between 18 and 22 kilograms. Although this was lighter than the original MG08, it was still heavy for a single soldier to operate alone. As a result, the MG0815 was typically used by a 2- or 3-man crew, consisting of a gunner, an assistant, and sometimes an ammunition bearer. To improve portability and handling, several important modifications were made compared to the MG08. The MG0815 was equipped with a wooden rifle-style buttstock, a pistol grip, and a bipod mounted at the front, replacing the large and heavy sled mount used by the MG08. A shoulder sling was also added, allowing the weapon to be carried more easily during movement. These changes made it possible for infantry units to advance with the machine gun rather than relying solely on static defensive positions. Operationally, the MG0815 became the most widely used German machine gun of World War I, with approximately 130,000 units produced. It was issued extensively to infantry units and played a key role in both offensive and defensive operations. Its effective firing range extended up to 2,000 meters, although practical combat effectiveness was usually achieved at much shorter distances. Despite its strengths, the MG0815 also had notable limitations. Its weight, water cooling system, and reliance on fabric ammunition belts made it less adaptable to rapid maneuver warfare. These drawbacks became increasingly apparent as military tactics evolved. As a result, Germany later developed improved variants such as the MG0818, which eliminated the water jacket in favor of air cooling, and eventually completely new designs like the MG34, which combined high firepower with true mobility. After World War I, the MG0815 continued to see limited use in training roles and secondary units. Some examples were still in service during the early stages of World War II, primarily due to equipment shortages. Historically and culturally, the designation 0815 entered the German language as an expression meaning something ordinary, standard, or unremarkable, reflecting how common the weapon had become during the war. In conclusion, the MG0815 represents a critical transitional step in the evolution of machine guns. It bridged the gap between heavy, static machine guns and later fully mobile general-purpose machine guns. While it did not fully solve the problem of mobility, it significantly influenced infantry tactics and laid important groundwork for future machine gun development. Its combination of reliability, sustained fire capability, and battlefield presence made it one of the most important German infantry weapons of the First World War.
The Chauchat M1915,
Officially designated Fusil Mitrailleur Model 1915 C.S.R.G, was a French light machine gun developed and widely used during the First World War. Its name comes from the initials of its designers and manufacturer, Colonel Louis Chauchat, Charles Sutter, Paul Ribeirolles, and the Gladiator Bicycle Factory, which was responsible for mass production. Introduced into service in 1915, the Chauchat was one of the earliest attempts to equip infantry units with a portable automatic weapon that could be carried and operated by a single soldier with minimal support. The Chauchat was designed in response to the static trench warfare conditions of World War I, where traditional heavy machine guns were too bulky and immobile to support advancing infantry. The French army sought a lightweight automatic weapon that could provide suppressive fire while troops moved forward, a concept known as marching fire. To meet this requirement, the Chauchat was intentionally designed to be light, simple, and inexpensive to manufacture, allowing it to be produced in very large numbers. By the end of the war, more than 250,000 Chauchat machine guns had been manufactured, making it one of the most produced automatic weapons of the conflict. Mechanically, the Chauchat operated using a long recoil system, a relatively uncommon mechanism for machine guns. In this system, the barrel and bolt recoil together over a long distance after firing before separating to complete the loading cycle. The weapon fired from an open bolt, which helped reduce overheating during sustained fire but reduced accuracy for single shots. It was capable of both semi-automatic and fully automatic fire, controlled by a simple selector mechanism. The rate of fire was relatively low, averaging around 240 to 250 rounds per minute, which was intended to improve controllability and conserve ammunition. The standard French version of the Chauchat was chambered for the 8x50mm Lebel cartridge, the same ammunition used in French service rifles. The weapon fed from a 20-round detachable magazine made of thin metal. One of the most controversial features of the Chauchat was its semicircular magazine with large, open cutouts on the sides, which were intended to allow soldiers to see how many rounds remained. In practice, these openings allowed mud, dirt, and debris to enter the magazine, especially in trench conditions, causing frequent feeding problems and jams. This flaw significantly damaged the weapon's reputation among soldiers. In terms of physical characteristics, the Chauchat weighed approximately 9 kilograms, making it lighter than most contemporary machine guns, but still heavy for extended use. Its overall length was about 1,140 millimeters, with a barrel length of roughly 450 millimeters. The effective firing range was around 200 meters, suitable for infantry support rather than long-range fire. A simple bipod was attached near the muzzle to stabilize the weapon during prone firing, though it was fragile and easily damaged. Despite its shortcomings, the Chauchat saw extensive service not only with the French Army, but also with many Allied forces. It was adopted by the United States Army in 1917 due to shortages of domestic light machine guns. The American version, designated Chauchat M1918, was chambered for the .30-06 Springfield cartridge, but this variant proved even more unreliable due to poor manufacturing tolerances and incompatible design modifications. As a result, American troops strongly criticized the weapon, and it became infamous as one of the least reliable machine guns of the war. The Chauchat was also used by forces in Belgium, Italy, Russia, Romania, Greece, Poland, and several other countries both during and after World War I. In some armies, it remained in service into the 1920s and early 1930s until replaced by more advanced and reliable light machine guns. In historical evaluation, the Chauchat M1915 is often remembered for its flaws, particularly its poor magazine design and inconsistent build quality. However, it also represents an important step in the evolution of infantry weapons. It was one of the first light machine guns to be issued on a massive scale and helped establish the concept of organic automatic firepower at the squad level. Although far from perfect, the Chauchat played a significant role in shaping modern infantry tactics and the future development of light automatic weapons.
The Madsen Machine Gun is a historically significant automatic weapon developed in Denmark and widely recognized as the world's first true light machine gun produced in quantity. Designed by Julius A. Rasmussen and Theodore Schaubo and adopted by the Royal Danish Army in 1902, the Madsen broke new ground in small arms technology by providing infantry with a fully automatic weapon that was significantly lighter and more portable than the heavy water-cooled machine guns that dominated battlefields at the time. From the outset, the Madsen was intended to offer infantry units reliable automatic firepower while maintaining mobility. It weighed approximately 9.07 kilograms, about 20 pounds, and measured around 1,143 millimeters in overall length, making it light enough to be carried and operated by a single soldier with a bipod support. This combination of weight and firepower was revolutionary in the early 20th century and set it apart from heavier machine guns such as the Maxim or Vickers, which required larger crews and fixed positions. The Madsen's operating system was highly unusual for its era. It used a mixed recoil-operated action with elements of both short and long recoil in its mechanism. The hinged bolt and special recoil system were based on principles similar to the Peabody Martini breech block, but adapted for fully automatic fire. This allowed the weapon to deliver sustained automatic fire while remaining mechanically robust and relatively compact. A distinctive feature of the Madsen was its top-mounted detachable magazine. Most standard magazines held 25 rounds, although versions with 30 or 40-round box magazines and even 80-round drum magazines were also manufactured. The top feed allowed gravity to aid in ammunition delivery, and the offset magazine design preserved a clear sight line along the center of the barrel. The weapon's rate of fire was approximately 450 rounds per minute, a modest figure compared to later automatic weapons, but adequate for its role and era. One of the Madsen's most compelling attributes was its versatility. Produced in more than a dozen calibers, including 8x58mm R Danish Krag, 7x57mm Spanish Mauser, 6.5x55mm Swedish Mauser, 7.92x57mm Mauser, 30-06 Springfield, and 7.62x51mm NATO, the Madsen was adaptable to the ammunition standards of many countries' armed forces. Thanks to this adaptability, it was sold to over 34 countries worldwide and saw active service across multiple conflicts, including colonial wars, World War I, World War II, and other 20th century engagements. Despite its innovation and historical importance, the Madsen also had limitations. The top-mounted magazine blocked some of the operator's view and required more frequent reloading than later belt-fed systems used by machine guns. Additionally, the recoil-based operating mechanism was more mechanically complex than the simpler gas-operated designs that eventually became standard, which made field maintenance more challenging. Nevertheless, its mechanical reliability and portability ensured that the Madsen remained in production from 1902 until around 1955, with some units continuing in limited service into the late 20th and early 21st centuries. In summary, the Madsen machine gun holds a unique place in military history as the first mass-produced light machine gun. Its combination of innovative design, global adoption, and long service life underscores its importance in the evolution of infantry automatic weapons. Its legacy is reflected in the many subsequent light and general-purpose machine guns that followed, influenced by the Madsen's pioneering role in combining mobility and automatic firepower.